noon, or night, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, we are on the homestead again today inside the building that we just built. This is a 36 by 48 shop house, barndominium, whatever you want to call it. My fiance Liz and I built this whole thing from scratch. Go and check out our older videos if you really want to see what was done. What we're doing today is we are putting the posts in for the loft. As many of you guys know, we're doing about a 900 square foot living quarters on the second story in this building on half of it, if that makes sense. So only one half of the building is going to have living quarters. This half behind me that has the cinder block wall, that's going to be a full 16-foot ceiling for shop space. All right, so what we got going on here is I just have measured off of that wall here and found my center line. I've marked that, you can see. And I've done the same over there. And I've stretched this 100-foot tape across and marked every 8 feet. And the reason for that is, for those of you that remember, I dug footers in when we poured concrete in here. So every 8 feet, it's about probably a 15 to a 20-inch deep hole. So we're going to be putting a total of 7 posts in. I think we're going to start at the wall, put a post right at the wall, and start working our way over every 8 feet. And then what we did is I got these 2x12s that are stacked up here behind me. Those are going to be my beam. I'm going to go a 2x12 sitting on these posts. We'll cut a notch into the 6x6 post, set a 2x12 on it, glue a piece of plywood to it. We're putting a 1/2-inch sheet of plywood in between these two 2x12s, sandwiched in between there to give it a little more shear strength. We're going to be gluing that with construction adhesive and nailing it. Don't know if there's a pattern yet. I still need to look that up. But that's what we got going on with that. So we'll put up a 2x12 running the full length, put a piece of plywood in there, sandwich it in there, then put the other 2x12 up on the other side. And that's going to be our beam that's holding the second story, and that'll be running this way, kind of north to south, the full length of the building. And running this way, we're going to have our floor joists. Those are 2x10 by 18 foot floor joists. Really wanted to go with a full 18, but I don't think we're going to get it out of this. I think it's going to be closer to 17 once the beam's up there and the post is set and all that. You know, it is what it is. We're happy with the way it turned out. We've been winging this whole thing, so some of our measurements haven't lined up just perfectly, but we're making it work. That's what you got to do. But anyway, those 2x10s are going to be on 1-foot centers attached to this 2x12, and we're going to do a 2x10 ledger against the wall, held in with ledger locks, and all those are going to be hung with joist hangers. It's a 2x10 Simpson strong tie hanger that we're going to use on that. Every 1 foot, run it across the full thing. We got this sheeting back here. That is, I think 3/4 inch OSB tongue and groove subfloor. So we're going to glue that down, slide that in, nail that all down. Hopefully we can bang this thing together pretty quick. And another thing, I wanted to let everybody know we started another channel. It's called Living Laid Back. It's just like the outtakes and the behind the scenes and like a little glimpse of what goes into making videos like this, and just like some other knick-knacky footage that I feel like, or Liz feels like, it's not good enough to put into a video, or somehow it doesn't work in a video. So these ones are like a little less edited, but it's kind of just like another glimpse into what we got going on here. So check it out. It's living laid back. I'll put a link in the description below. See what you think and let me know in the comments. And if you like it, subscribe. Okay, so I went through and marked on my string line. I used my string as a straight line. So we went through, I had to kick the dogs out because they can't see the string. I went through and got all these marked. So we'll drill them and put these brackets on. I'll show you guys these brackets. They are nifty little brackets. These guys that I'm using are 4 inches long. So we're gonna set this little stop bar at 5 inches. It gives us a little bit of room. The box actually recommends, I don't know how much. They do recommend a little bit of play down there, but we're gonna give it an inch. So these brackets are cool. Simpson Strong Tie makes them. And they're just a 6x6 post base, but what's nice is it keeps the post off the ground with these channels that are open so it can still breathe. Post sits in there. You don't need to notch out the bottom of the post because the bolt sits down in there and the post sits up a little off the ground. They're a lot more heavy duty than any of the other ones that I've seen, so I'll put a link to these down in the description. All right, everybody, so we got all 7 of these brackets mounted down, and I'm gonna show you all of them in the end one here. It's a little bit of custom work. All of these are gonna be on 8-foot centers, or they are on 8-foot centers, and they run all the way down here, right down the middle. This is right on the center line. And then this one I kept off of the wall. You can see I got it off the wall about 15 inches. And the reason for that is my sewer line. I'm gonna have that beam going right over the top of this thing. And I'm gonna have to unhook this thing from the wall so I can put that one floor joist in there, and that'll be the bottom of the floor joist, so that should not stick above the subfloor. I'm pretty sure. We'll see. We'll see how close I get. But yeah, so this beam will be sitting off the wall about 15 inches right above that sewer line. So it's all going good. So we are going to get some posts going. I'm going to set the posts up, then I'm going to set the laser up. I don't totally trust that my concrete is perfectly flat. I know it's not perfectly flat because we did it ourselves and we hadn't before, so it is what it is. But we're going to set the laser up to get a true flat level line on these posts. So we're going to be able to make the second story very true and flat. So that's nice. Alright, there we go. We've got 2 cuts angled out on the bottom. I gave it a little room to breathe there, so we'll get this one fastened up. Alright guys, so I'm actually using my post for something already. The camera is sitting on this post. We got 7 of them lined up, wall to wall. This is where the top of the floor is going to sit. If I figured all my stuff correctly, that would be the top of this 2x4 right here. Okay, so this thing's spinning. I measured it over there at the wall, and it is 4.5 inches at the wall, and right here it is at 5.5 inches, so over 16 feet. That's telling me there's an inch of difference. That makes sense. Check this thing, make sure this is still level. It's still very, very, very close. So that's kind of what you get, I guess, when you don't have a ton of experience and you build something like this. But it just goes to show that it all works out. It doesn't really matter, you know, if it's not exactly perfect. There is a little bit of room for error. But what I'm going to do is run a ledger against that wall, a 2x10 ledger against that wall. And I'm going to mark this line and measure down 4.5 inches, and that'll put me at the very top of this little shear wall on that side. I'm going to cut these posts and start putting a beam in them. Hey guys, I just wanted to pop in really quick and ask you, please, please, please like and subscribe down below. Drop a comment on your thoughts on this, and if you feel so inclined, give it a share. It helps me out, and it's free to you guys. Thanks. All right, just to catch everybody up to speed, what I'm doing is I marked all the posts with my laser level, went around, marked all that, so that should be perfectly flat. Hopefully it's perfectly flat. It's gonna be pretty close. I set the level up on this back post over here. It was flat, it was level. So we're cutting all of them at that level. What I've done is, since we measured down and that was 4.5 inches down from the level line, we have the level line right here. So I just measure 4.5 inches down, mark that all the way around. We're going 3.5 inches in on each side. That makes a notch like this. This saw is struggling a little bit in the batteries. I keep killing them right away to cut through these beams. It's a lot of meat that we're taking out. So I have depleted the batteries and it's trying to catch up on the charger. I think we're gonna start putting a 2x12 up here and see what it looks like at least. I'll show you guys this over here. I'm gonna be able to slide a 2x12 in right next to this house wrap, and that notch will line up just about perfect with it. So I can attach it to the building on this side, and eventually it'll run all the way down and go over to that side. Oh, this is heavy. Dead. Okay. Alright guys, so as you can see behind me, we ended up finishing a third of the beam this week. We got all the posts set, drilled, and secured, and we have a third of the beam up there. So that means we have 3 2x12 by 16s sitting on these posts. What we have to do next is put pieces of plywood in there for shear strength. We're gonna glue pieces of plywood in there, so we gotta get those cut. We're gonna need a bunch of little strips of about 11-inch strips of plywood, 11-inch by 8 feet long, and then we're gonna sandwich those in there by putting another 2x12 by 16 on the outside of these that piece of plywood. and we're going to split those seams and run that the full length also. And as you can see, we have just the one run of 2x12s will come up here around the corner. Hopefully this light kicks on over here. Shed some light. There it is. So we have that run the entire length of the building. We did pretty good for a week's worth of work. What I'm going to get back to now is keep ripping this plywood and trucking away with this. That pretty much does it for this one, guys. As always, I hope everybody's doing well. We got the seasons coming up, so Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody. And if we don't see you before the new year, Happy New Year. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.